onion rings and cheese curds.
Dude, if you eat those while we're casting, I will leave. Strike that from the record. Dude, nobody wants to hear your mouth sounds. Nobody wants that.
Oh, that's good. What's Daniel doing? Dude, Daniel, we got in there.
It's a rough day.
Oh my gosh. Wow, your beard is huge.
I'm gonna shave it.
Dude, can you why? I thought you were gonna grow it out for like forever.
I was thinking about it yesterday. And you know what? It's like,
did you realize that now that you like you have like a centimeter of hair on your face, now when you sleep, it like pushes your face up on your pillow and you wake up with neck problems?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, realized last night I was laying down and it's like all flat.
Yeah.
Because I lay there, it's fluffy. I hate it. So I have to, in the morning I'm like, have to like treat it, you know.
The problem I have is when it gets long, it's pokey on the inside. It's like when I'm laying down like that, it's like poking both ways.
Dude, you gotta push through it. But it's like people say it's only like a few days or so. No, dude, it's like 3 weeks.
But, it's terrible.
Takes a while. Yeah.
Dude, you look very UX designer right now.
Yeah, you do with those glasses
and the beard.
Those don't even have. Do those have a prescription?
Dude, the prescription is awesomeness.
So
no, they're blue light. It's supposed to, like, I've been getting headaches and they're supposed to help, but we'll see.
Are they helping? Or do you just want to look more distinguished?
Who am I to say? If it's helping?
Okay.
I don't know.
There's the answer to that.
Yeah. The reviews say they're helping, so I think
the reviews.
They're helping somebody somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Well, topics for today. Our sleazy quick Kickstarter. No, what are we gonna? We have quite the list now. We can talk about a lot of things.
No, we have a huge list.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to talk about sleazy quick Kickstarter stuff since that's what we were just talking about? Because, dude, I am over that stuff.
All right,
I'm so over it.
Let's do it.
And here's the thing. I was talking to somebody. I was talking to Brett about this. This is why, dude. Okay, we're getting into real estate. We're getting into sleazy Kickstarter projects. We're getting into all of it. I was talking to my friend Brett the other day, and he's like, dude, why don't you just buy a house and rent it out? And it's the reason I don't want to do that as like a rental property or real estate in general is the same reason I don't want to do another sleazy Kickstarter project.
Pause. You started talking and then I got bored a little and I don't know what you're talking about.
Already?
Start over.
Dude. All right. I'll condense this for you. I don't want to do any of that stuff because it's not the end game. And basically at this point in my life, if it's not the end game, I am not interested.
What's the end game? Wait, no, define that.
The end game is, well, for me, it's going to be different for everybody. Like for me, it's the warehouse dream. It's like a product design studio, essentially, where we can just kind of like have our space and the whole day, like our job is basically like develop products, you know? And so if it's not that, I don't want to do it. And these little projects that like kind of are a version of that, but they're only going to make like $15,000. Like, dude, that doesn't get us any closer to the end game because the end game is, by the way, like we own that. Like we started our own thing. I don't have to have a job anymore, you know? And so spending like 3 months working on something that's going to make us like $7,000. Oh my gosh, I'm over it. And also real estate. It's just stuff that's just going to suck time and energy and attention away from the end game.
Wait, so let's back it up though. I think just for context, if anybody ever listens to this, which, oh no, Jeff is frozen mid-bite. If anybody, so the project in question is a calendar, and you guys built a calendar once upon a time. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about these cheap Kickstarter projects. It's something that you spend a bunch of time working on, and nets just 15K.
Yeah, it's small. It's small projects.
It was a calendar is like the context for this one, right? You built a calendar, sold it.
Yeah.
But I think the problem that the problem with your argument is that like you're saying, hey, it's a one and done 15K, then you're done that project. But I think some of these other people that are doing them are doing them, they get the 15K, but then they have a product they can continually sell in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And that just helps towards like the cash flow, because the warehouse dream is you need to have cash to support that dream continually, right?
Dude, not only, and the other thing that really flipped my mind on this was when Daniel was like, dude, I'll only do the warehouse if you can pay me what did you tell me, Daniel? This is when I first moved to San Diego. You're like, dude, I'll come, but you got to pay me like $1 million a year. I was like, holy smokes. Okay. Like there's a new constraint, right? Whatever the project is, it needs to make so much money that like you can pay a bunch of people or, you know, a handful of people, whatever. You can pay people enough money to make it worth it. So it's just like, it's the same work, dude. It's the same. You create a product, you do the marketing, like it's all the same work. It's the same amount of work probably too. But if in the past we were just so loose about what projects we chose to undertake, we had no.
I don't think it is the same amount of work though. The amount of work to make
it is, dude.
I think it's almost even more work if it's a small project, because then you don't have excess cash to hire things out.
Yeah.
You can't hire someone else to like do the thing for you, so you wind up doing all of it.
You're right. I mean, you convinced me. Here's the thing though. Yeah, the calendar is really like getting a part-time job for 3 months. That's what it is.
Or full-time. But some of that time it's like another full-time job.
Yeah. Yes, but yes.
Dude, and then you're throwing up in the bathroom again in front of all those yoga women. Ugh.
I just think it's unattainable though to say like, hey, we need to make $1 million.
Well,
like that's such a unobtainable like milestone. But like, hey, we need 3 projects that are going to make us $1,000 each per month. That's way more attainable.
But that's the thing is the calendars, they'll die. You know, this is the time to sell calendars. January 1st hits,
right?
like January 5th. No, yeah, but it's like you can make $5,000 every December.
Sure.
You know,
why not?
So
the work's already done. You're just switching out the dates after that, right?
No,
man, it's a lot of work somehow.
We did it.
Yeah, we've done it. We did the linear calendar, like 3 times? At least twice.
Oh no, you're right. We did it like 2 times on Kickstarter, and didn't we do it like 1 more time? Or I can't remember. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I designed one for last year also, and then I got through designing, and I was like, you know what?
Hey, Jeff designed a linear calendar on an Excel spreadsheet. Remember this?
Yeah, the first one.
Maybe
you're like trying to like save it as a PDF, and you're gonna get this like huge. Oh gosh.
Go through that story, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong. But
dude, no. Here, I'll tell you why you're wrong.
No, back it up. Linear calendar. What was it? How'd you get it?
Well, hang on. Let me just finish my framework, because I've got this new framework. Okay. Remember that screenshot I shared with you guys? That's like, here's this project. This is like basically what it is, and here's the estimate of how much money you can make.
Totally.
And here's this other project and whatever. So like in my mind, if we had the warehouse, we would basically have a wall somewhere where like no project doesn't get on the wall. Like anything you want to do can go on the wall. It's just that you have to fill out that sheet. And so if you're looking at the number at the top right, and it's like, and you're looking through all these projects, and it's
10,000.
Like 10,000. Yeah, it's like, oh, this one could potentially make like $100 million. That can make $10 million. This could make blah blah blah. And you're looking at one that's like, that can make $10,000. It's like, it's not to say also that you can't do it. It's just like that you should probably adjust the amount of time and effort you give to that. Give it $10,000 worth of effort. And if it takes more than that, like quit that thing. Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. My point is, I think you're downplaying the small things
big
that
time
would get you to your dream.
Dude, we did so many small things. We did 3 years worth of small things. Daniel, in 2017 alone, remember we counted it up? We launched 14 products. Like launched, not like we thought of them. Dude, we probably thought of like 57. We actually developed and launched and had like sales or
delivered. Yeah.
14 products in 1 year. But and it was a range of like software, talent. It was all kinds of crap. And like, dude, it was just like so not worth it. It was so dumb. I'm not interested in doing that kind of thing again.
I think that's a completely different argument. That's not even related to what I'm trying to say right now. What I'm saying is your goal is like $1 million. Your goal is like, we need something that's gonna make $1 million per year. And I'm saying that is too big of a milestone when your goal is not $1 million per year. Your goal is a warehouse. And a warehouse is going to cost you a couple $1,000s per month. And so some of these smaller projects that you could run, with little effort, but would make money per month are what you need. Instead of thinking like, I need $100 million product. No, you just need a couple $1,000s a month to buy your warehouse and sustain you so you can keep making products.
Wait, no. Okay, pause. So I think we're just talking about, I think the difference here is just kind of calibration on what range is worth doing. Because I don't think we need just a couple $1,000s to have a warehouse. Like, that's just for the warehouse costs.
Sure.
Like
yeah.
I don't want to have a job if I'm going to be doing the warehouse,
Yeah, that's all wrapped in there, but it's not $1 million a year. It's what?
It kind of is
more than that.
A year?
I think it's a lot more than $1 million a year, actually.
If it's $1 million a year of revenue, how much of that is like profit, and how much of that can you actually pay yourself and then divided by like how many people are working on this, dude, you're gonna be making like 50K a year if you make $1 million in transaction. You know, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean? It's like it's not like I'm making $2,000 a month and we can sustain like as many people working on this in a warehouse full-time doing it. Forget it.
And here's the other thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is we need a huge margin for error, because if like the maximum that could be made is $1 million, we're probably not going to get there, right? We're not going to execute perfectly. Like we misestimated, whatever, something happens. So in my mind, we need a number that's like so enormous that we can basically screw it up big time along the way and still achieve the dream. So like if we're working on a project that could make $100 million a year and we do it, we do like an F minus level execution, right? Where we only achieve 10% of that somehow. And we're still making, like, it's still enough. Versus if you did that on a different, a smaller scale thing, then dude, that's basically what we did. And you're just getting your butt kicked over and over and over for nothing. It winds up being so much more work than you anticipated for so much less benefit. And it's not even fun because you're just like constantly kind of like behind the ball. I don't know. I just am not about the small projects right now.
And the cool thing is we all have jobs. So the jobs like can replace the small things you need to do when you're doing an actual startup in real life without full-time jobs. Because that's what we kept doing, the small things, right? We had this kind of big dreams and stuff like that. But then it's like, guess what? Like we had to like figure out how to survive in like 2 weeks from now. So we're like, okay, let's do things that makes us money like right now. And that basically was our full-time job. And then on the side, we worked on the actual startup. So right now we have basically full-time jobs. We don't need to like do things that bring another like 5K. It's gonna take us nowhere. And instead, we work on things that have the potential to make at least $1 million, so that we can actually have a longer-term plan.
Yeah, because at the time,
I'm in.
At the time, like the linear calendar that we did like in 2014, that made us maybe like 40 grand, I think, in revenue, and like most of that was profit. There was like a ton of profit built into that thing. And at the time, that was a huge deal. We were like, I was paying under $200 a month in rent to live in this like ghetto AF bed bug infested place. Daniel was living in like dude, I don't know. We were living so cheap, and our rent was only $600 a month for the office space. And like, we were just at the time, like $30,000 made a huge difference, right? Like that could sustain us for quite a while. It was totally worth putting the time in. Now, we all have like decent jobs, right? And we're in the tech industry. Now $30,000 is completely meaningless, especially if it's a one-time thing. To your point, Nathan, if it was like $30,000 a month, that's a different story. But dude, if it was like,
it's not even that, dude. It's like, okay, linear calendars. We sold like what, 40 grand in 2 months? Is that what it was?
Yeah, something like that.
How much of that was profit?
I would guess like 25 to 30. It was pretty high profit margin.
After returns?
No, we didn't really have many returns on that one. That one actually,
no, actually that was good. So let's say we made 20 grand, 50%, right? Now divide that by,
but
divide that by 4, I think at a time. Divide that by, it's like, that doesn't actually months. Like, that buys you like a month. You divide it by 4. Huh?
I'm not talking about past experience. Like that is kind of irrelevant to my argument. My argument is your guys' scale of what is required is off.
It's astronomical at this point.
It's $1 million. For me, it's like it has to have the potential to at least like there's a clear path for this to make at least $1 million over the next 2 years.
Dude, and for me, it's way higher than that. Like I think 10 million plus, and even 10 million, it's like, I'm not really sure. This is like such disgusting stuff to talk about. This is like business school kids to the max, right?
No, it's good discussion, but I think your KPI is off for your objective. Your key result.
What do you mean?
Like
wait, my objective or my key result? Which one's off?
Your key result for your objective. Your key results are off. Your objective is get a warehouse and live comfortably.
No, I think that's the key result.
No, that's your vision.
Oh, right. No, dude.
Your mission statement.
What's our mission?
Right?
Shareholders.
So our mission
Synergy.
is off.
Your goal is get a warehouse and live comfortably, right?
My KR. That's my KR.
Who cares? Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. That's kind of the objective is like warehouse, right?
Yeah. So it's not to make $100 million.
No, it kind of is though, because there are differing degrees of warehouse, right? There's
Okay.
And there's the version of the warehouse where, like, Daniel and I one time went up to Salt Lake and met with a guy who was designing a water bottle.
What
Daniel,
you want is
remember
a
that?
skate park in your warehouse.
Shoe? The guy who's manufacturing shoes.
No, he made a water bottle. They had like a little design studio. There were just two guys in this little room, and they were designing a water bottle. Anyway,
It's depressing. It's super depressing.
yeah. So he had like a version of the warehouse, right? So there's like the warehouse. I mean, I arguably, like, I have it actually right now in my garage. Like, I go out there and like build random
Yeah,
stuff.
the warehouse
tables
is
and
a
stuff
metaphor.
right now. Yeah. So the warehouse can be anywhere from like my current setup, which is like my garage, all the way up to I'm thinking, I mean, like at the largest scale, it's like a Steve Jobs or like, you know,
Yeah.
Elon Musk or something kind of setup where like you're still designing products. You have a way bigger team around you, but like that getting closer to that end of the spectrum is better, because then you just, like we talked about before, you have way more margin for screwing things up. Like the padding gets so big at that point that you, like, why would you not try
Dude,
to get to that level?
Because
here's my vision for the warehouse.
Greater, right?
Yeah.
It's what?
I mean,
Wait,
there's
hold on.
Wait, what'd you say? It's what?
I was gonna say your chance for failure at a huge project is greater, right? Your chance
Well-
of getting $100 million company is much slimmer than your ability to build $300,000 a year companies.
I
But you
can't
have a-
run, dude. I don't have the ability to run 3 companies at the same time. Like I need
Yeah,
it to
but
be
if you had
one
all the
thing.
process in place, like if it was just streamlined and you had somebody managing it, you know.
I don't know. I don't really believe in that. Like when people get introduced and like, this guy has started 14 businesses, the first thing I think is like, okay, well, they all sucked then, because like, why would you start 14 if you had one that was really good? You wouldn't start number 2, you know?
I mean, sure, but maybe they're just not scalable. Like you could start a small boutique that makes a couple $1,000s.
Dude, it just
per
seems
month,
like
but,
so. I'm just not interested in that. My brain needs to work on one thing and go deep and long on it. I can't handle having like a whole bunch of
So
projects.
then you're just back to wanting to build a startup. You want to build a startup that's successful and makes a lot of money.
Yeah, but like a really specific type of startup. Like there's a very specific role that I want to play.
dude, no worry. You said like you want to have a few different products, right? The warehouse, you have the wall with different products. I think
Yeah,
that's
but
fine,
that's
right?
like in my mind, product is not the same as business, right? When people say
Right.
like he started a bunch of businesses, that seems way harder than designing a bunch of
They're
products.
synonymous in my mind. Like you're going to have 3 different product categories that are completely different from each other. That's 3 separate businesses, even if it's just physical like products.
Sure, could be, yeah. Or you could design a bunch of products that are all like really similar.
Yeah.
And
They're
I mean,
siblings.
if you have a product line like camping or something, sure. But like if you're doing
Exactly.
something like camping and a calendar and something else, like those are 3 separate businesses, different markets, different
Yeah,
people, different
yeah,
operations.
different sales channels, different all that stuff. That's not the ideal in my mind at all. That's a lot more work.
So, well, then what you do want is you want to build a camping company or like an outdoor.
Oh,
Dude, I just
guys.
want to. What?
What? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to design. I want to be involved. There's like, if you look at the product development process, essentially, right? Like you have an idea and then it gets designed like on paper and then it gets engineered and then manufactured and then sold and then shipped and then whatever. That whole chain of like how a product goes from an idea to like it's in someone's hands. There are really only like 2 pieces of that process that I want to be involved in, and it's design and marketing. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is just like, create circumstances for myself that allow me to do those 2 things. And control them to a large degree forever, and like live comfortably in the meantime and not like be stressed out of my mind about what happens when I'm whatever. 50
But
years
in
old.
one industry for all that?
I don't really know. I mean, the ideal would probably be that you design a single product that goes so big that you like have to build a whole company around it. And then if you get bored of it after a while, let's say you get bored of it after 5 years, like then move on to the next thing, like sell the next company. But the idea would be, yeah, you do something that's so successful, you have to dedicate 100% of your attention to that one thing. And maybe you add products to it, right? But like similar products. It's not like you're going to pull out of that and start something completely different from that while you're still running that one thing. That's the ideal in my mind. Like Jane.com, right? Or like, I don't know, like a lot of these guys that we've seen that have lives that look really good, that's what their life looks like. I haven't honestly seen anyone yet who is running like multiple companies who looks like they're really enjoying it.
Okay.
Sorry, am I off topic here? Did I answer your
No,
question?
that's fine. I think it would just get circular because in my opinion, we're back to the same question of like, is having different products different companies? And in my mind, the answer is yes. So like,
Yeah, and
keep going
yeah.
in a loop.
I mean, I just like, I guess I want the freedom to be able to explore that also. But
I don't know. I stand by my point that your objectives and your key results are not aligned, in my opinion. But
so what is the threshold for you, Nathan? What do you think we should be aiming for in regards to revenue potential?
Oh, well, I mean, let's think of the warehouse not as a metaphor, but a physical space. Like, I don't know, how big is like 2,000 square feet? Like just an empty room that you can do stuff in.
Sure.
It's going to cost you like what, $1,500 a month, depending where you are. It's like $1.50 per square foot. So between $1,500 and $3,000 per month. So that could get you a warehouse that's a space for you to do all this product stuff. So you need at least $30,000 per month. And then it just depends, like, what would you need to live comfortably? Like
400,000 a year.
So, yeah.
I'm serious. Here's what I think like the warehouse should be, in my opinion, is like you get a line of products. No, dude, you absolutely need to.
You'll have the warehouse taken care of.
No.
$400,000 a year.
Dude,
$400,000.
You're saying right now, I don't know. Maybe you make that much. I don't know. But you're saying you do not live comfortably right now.
No, I'm saying like, look, I don't want to go into a place where I'm like getting paid $70,000 a year, and I'm like, oh, I love what I do, but I'm getting paid $70,000.
I would love that if it meant I got to do the warehouse and design products all day.
No, absolutely not.
Dude,
no way.
Here's the thing that you're maybe not thinking about is the long-term risk of that $70,000. Like when you're running your own company, like when we were doing it, at least the fact that we made, whatever, nothing basically in a year, but let's say we made like $30,000 a year. I was constantly terrified that was going to disappear. And
sure.
Yeah. So like there's absolutely no, let's say you're making $70,000 a year. How long is that going to last? You have no idea. You could get completely killed by a competitor tomorrow. There's a million things that could happen that could shut down that income stream. So to compensate for it, ideally in like an ideal world, you need to be making way more than you would at a normal job. You need to take
absolutely.
Because you're not just doing nothing the whole time. You're making
that stress though. Like I don't know if you've ever experienced that stress. You're gonna feel it big time. You'll be like, oh look, I was making 150 in my last job. I'm only making 140 here, but it's basically the same thing, dude. You're gonna every minute of your life, you're gonna be worried about that 140 evaporating. And one day it will. That's the other part about this. Like it will at some point. It's just a matter of time. Nothing lasts forever. So you have to compensate.
I'm not saying it's not going to be stressful. I'm not saying it's not going to be difficult. I am saying you don't need $400,000 to make it work.
Dude, I think if we're talking, here's the wonderful thing about startups, right? I think this is the reason a lot of people gravitate towards startups is because you have control, right? Like you get to choose everything. You get to choose what you work on, when you work on it, who you work with, to a large degree, sort of like how much you get paid, all that stuff, right? You can choose to work on things that would make more money or less money or whatever. You just get to choose it all. So while we're choosing it all, like, why not choose it all? Why not go for, I want to work on the most fun things with the people that I like the most in the most fun environment and make the most money possible. Like, because your chance of success decreases as you add. I don't know if that's true. Why do you think that?
Huh?
Why is that true?
Because the number of small businesses vastly outweighs the number of like massive corporations.
No, dude, but like there's a difference also. Like, you're not gonna like start with like off the bat, everyone makes $400,000 and that's not how it works.
That's what I just said. You don't need to start with 70K. And you're like, no, you have to make 400K or I'm not doing it. If I right now was in a position like, hey, you're gonna make 70K this year and maybe next year it's gonna be a little iffy, but you're gonna have a chance to like build something new and keep progressing, I'd be like, I'm in right now. I'll do it.
And I'm saying it as I would be absolutely out.
Yeah.
Like I think the way to go though is like, I mean, that's a good step forward, but it's not like, okay, I'm ready to quit. I'm gonna join this thing that's gonna make me 70K. Dude, forget it. Like I would wait until this has it's going to the place where it's like, you know what? I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna pay really well. That's when I like quit.
Maybe we just have different risk profiles. Like
maybe.
Because
for sure. But I'm saying, dude,
kids and Jeff
70K, dude.
Definitely doesn't have kids right now.
Yeah, dude, 70K, you're at so much risk. Like if what you can make out of the entire business is you can only pull 70K, dude, it's still very risky.
I'm not saying it's not risky. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying if somebody offered me that opportunity right now, I would take it if it was 70K.
Dude, yeah, you're gonna, yeah, like Jeff said, you're gonna be stressed out of your mind.
Sure. I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm saying I would take the opportunity though. And
Yeah,
it would fulfill the warehouse goal.
I think the difference is that Daniel and I like already did that kind of thing for 3 years. Like we tasted it pretty fully, and it's scary. It actually is scary. Like I think that also, to Daniel's point, another thing is if the business is making more than that, but you're only pulling out 70K, like that's totally different story.
Yeah,
if the
that's
business is operating on net income of like $1 million a year, and you just happen to only want to take out 70K because you're trying to grow the business, like yeah, that changes the game big time. But if it's like the business only has $70,000 left to pay you, that's a terrifying position to be in.
Yeah, sure, that's a different story. But at the same time, like hopefully you have that time to fix things and make it better.
No, but I don't know. I mean, there's a question of when you jump, sure. But like, I think the idea for me in my mind when I think of warehouse is like a place where you can like really just focus on the things you like to do the most. You're having a lot of fun, people you want to be in, an environment you want to be in, and freedom. Like if I don't want to show up in the morning, I don't show up in the morning. Like if Jeff wants to go surfing like at 2 o'clock, let him go surfing at 2 o'clock. And we're getting paid like kings. Like
yeah,
so there's like 15 people there. There's like 15 people there, and we're all getting paid over 300,000, and that's it. Like that's awesome.
Your ask is going up, and your chance of success is going down. In my mind, that's the balance. Like the more you ask, your chance of getting.
Dude, it's just I'm not in a rush to just jump into something that like quit my job for 70K. Oh, like no, I can't wait. So I'm just gonna like, yeah, sure. Like if you're gonna get to a point where everyone can get paid 400,000. You first have to cross the path where people can get paid 70K. Yeah, totally. But like, that's not the end goal. For me, the end goal is like something where I can get paid like a king and have all the freedoms that I just went over.
I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying the more you ask, the chance of success goes down. Like it's just an relationship.
I understand completely what you're saying. I'm not totally sure that is exactly how it works. There probably are a lot more people starting pizza shops than there are people trying to start like the next, Walmart or whatever. But I think also this is like a really interesting thing that I'm just an Elon Musk fanboy like everyone. So sorry, but the way the guy thinks is just really inspiring to me because he just picks out an objective. He's like, okay, this is what we need to achieve, and then he just backs into how would you get there? Like, how do you with his first principles thinking and everything, like how realistically, not with a whole bunch of like hopes and dreams, but like realistically in real life, given the constraints of physics and economics and everything, how are we going to get from A to B? And the fact that he has done that like so consistently is amazing. And I think that at least for me, like my head is way more in that space right now than it is in the statistics space of like, oh, let's just do a bunch of things and like, pick something that has the highest probability of success. Mark Andreessen talks about this, right, Daniel? In the book,
that's
Statistics versus Calculus.
Calculus,
yeah. And it's like if you approach the world from like a statistics point of view, yeah, you're going to do the thing that has the highest chance of success, which is probably the thing that everyone else is doing that is working. Dude, it's real estate. Actually, that's what it is. The highest chance of success thing is real estate, which is why everyone that starts having money is interested in it. It's like you basically can't screw it up, but you also can't make that much money, right? So that's the supply and demand curve, or like laws.
But what you're missing here is it's a retirement fund. The way I'm approaching real estate, if I do it, which I'm not doing it right now, if I do it, it's just like, well, it's a retirement. In 30 years, I'm set. So it's not like, oh, this is my startup thing. It's just like, hey, I can put in a 401k. I can just buy a home.
I'm just saying you could go the calculus route also, right? And just be like, okay, what I want for my life is these things. I want the warehouse and I want to make X dollars per year and whatever. And then instead of adjusting the goal because it's unrealistic, you just back into like, okay, what needs to happen for us to get there? And I'm like so interested in that kind of thinking right now because it's a huge challenge, right? Like, if you want to achieve something to that scale, it's enormously challenging, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. And I think that we are all plenty competent to be able to pull it off. We just need to like figure out how to do it. And I'm super dedicated to that. Like I'm getting there or dying trying, but like it's for me, like it's I don't know. That just makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a ton of sense to approach it in that way.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can't do it. This is entirely a conversation in my mind of like risk, not like jumping off a cliff is risky, but like finance risk. Like, hey, the greater the reward, the greater the uncertainty that's involved with it. And like the reward is super high. Like you want a lot of things. And so your risk factor is really high. Like there's a lot of uncertainty involved with getting there.
I
just
think
don't
that's
know if
true,
that's
right? It's kind of like, I agree. It's kind of like, hey, if you want to start $1 billion company in tech, that's going to be a lot harder than if you want to start like a $100 million company. But I think like the 7,000, like there's a point in which there's not that much of a difference. So I think to get a company, for example, that can make like $5 million is going to be as hard as to create a company that can make like $100,000. It's like that range is pretty, I think it's pretty close. It's just a matter of like, do you pick something that has a little bit more potential than the other?
Maybe. I don't know if I have an opinion on that yet.
I got to go in 2 minutes. So last
Dang.
comments from the group.
How did this start? Oh, this was the
Kickstarter.
topic the whole time.
Look,
Yeah.
I agree, Jeff, about like the calendar. I might still do it though.
You're gonna do the calendar?
No, I mean, it's just like that design is like, it seems so easy. If I find someone who fulfill it and just find a printer shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna do it. Forget it. Yeah. For
Yeah.
what? For like 5K? No way.
And everything that you think was gonna be easy is gonna be hard, and it's gonna take 3 times longer than you thought.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. Go big. We gotta go. I think it makes sense to go big. Mostly for me, it's mostly an attention issue. I don't have a brain that can hold 3 things going at the same time. And so if it's a small thing, then you're going to need 3 things. And so it's like, I can't do that. So I just got to pick the thing that's going to go big enough to just do one of them.
No, and the other thing is like you can kind of get burnt out, right? So if you're like doing a bunch of work for something and then you go in and you see like $1,000 come in and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
This is a topic for next time since we're out of time, but like, I feel like what you just said right now is like, I need to pick one thing that goes big is completely against what you said before about having the warehouse with the wall of like different things you can work on. Like they're polar opposites in my mind.
I disagree, but I guess we'll get to that next time.
Can't reconcile the two. Like, hey, I need one big thing I can focus on versus like, I want 10 different projects that I can evaluate. Like, help me. Help me match those two.
Help me
statements.
help you.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Yeah, I guess. Post it. Post this.
All right, later, bro.